Good evening and live from Banjul, this is GRTS News at 2000 hours coming to you from the Gambia Radio and Television Services. In the headlines this evening, the third ordinary session of Parliament in the 2021 legislative year ends with Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure responding to questions posed by deputies. 250 personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces departs for Turkey as part of a 12-week training program on peacekeeping operations. The senior management of the Gambia Red Cross Society embarks on a countrywide tour to their project intervention sites, looking into progress made and challenges registered. In sports, the Gambia Football Players Association holds its annual award night, recognizing excellence in the field of football. In the internationals, a group of 600 investigative journalists have published a new report implicating global and political leaders in evading tax schemes. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. Well, many thanks for joining GRTS News with me, Winifred Nicole. We begin this edition of the bulletin with the National Assembly, where the third ordinary session of Parliament in the 2021 legislative year today ended with the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, responding to various questions posed by deputies. As Ibrahim Jallo reports, Dr. Toure also responded to comments raised on the President's 2021 State of the Nation address, amongst other government business, tabled before deputies. More in this report.
The ordinary session of the National Assembly resumed with continuation of debate on the State of the Nation's address. Deputies raised concerns on various sectors of national development. Honorable Sidia Jatta, member for Woolly West, called for greater focus on local production to build the economy in a bid to graduate from loans and grants for sustainability.
No government will develop any country anywhere in the world based on loans and grants. It is not possible, it has never happened, and it will never happen. And in our circumstances in our continent in Africa, the issue of grants and loans are well calculated. Well calculated, they are there. They give you. But the whole objective is to keep you at bay.
Honorable Sekwa Jaji of Busumbala and Omar Dabo of Okanyomi both acknowledged significant achievements registered by the current government, citing electricity and road infrastructure projects, thanks to government and development partners.
The government is cognizant, is aware of the burden, but they cannot go and say, hold their hands, because we have loans, so we're not going to develop. We have seen what is happening in the country here. Despite the heavy loan burden on the country, but development is going on. So that means it's a thumb up and a bravo to the government.
Madam Speaker, I have been crying here for my people to have electricity in Upper Nyomi. As I've been saying, since independence in 1965, we never have electricity switch. We don't have it. But now I can tell you, Jufre and Alberta is enjoying electricity and expanding to Mbandankiling, Laming, Tobakolong, Stanunku, and Jamdu. So we are really grateful to the government of the day.
Honorable Yaya Gassama, member for Kiang East, is concerned about the cost of living.
Rising prices of food. People are suffering, people are hungry, people are poor. The cost of living is skyrocketing, and people are finding it extremely difficult to make ends meet. This report is silent on that. It hasn't said anything on it, and this is something that people were looking forward to hear. The cost of living has, in fact, consumed the increment of salaries that was done. So it looks like there is no salary increment at all.
The Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure took to the podium and gave detailed response and clarifications to comments and concerns raised by deputies. She argued that government is doing well in fulfilling its mandate through the principles of democracy, transparency and accountability.
It is not bad to take loans. It is not bad to take grants. You know what is bad? When you get the grants and the loans, you use it inappropriately. We are here to talk each other for facts.
Because even a child who is carried by the mother, when the child is delivered, the mother has to be helping that child to be able to reach a point where now the child will be independent. So in a situation like that, loans and grants, especially Gambia was giving grants because of our democratic dispensation.
The Vice President also calls for patience and attitudinal change to chart a way forward.
We have come a long way 5 years on. And today, when I listen to the vibes, when I listen to what some of you are saying, it gives me hope. Hope that we are beginning to appreciate the dividend of democracy. We are beginning to appreciate the dividend of selfless engagement that all of us have done to reach here today. So saying it is not praising the government or yourselves, it's about the reality.
Meanwhile, the third ordinary session for the 2021 legislative year has come to an end today. Ibrahim Jallo, GRTS News.
Senior officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society yesterday began a nationwide tour of their project intervention sites across the country. The team is also visiting victims of the July 7th windstorm who were given cash amount of $22,500 and material support by the Humanitarian Society and its partners. As we hear in this report, the delegation started its engagements with a visit to a joint community forest project in Nyamina Sambeng in the Central River region. Esa Sow picks up the rest of that story.
Senior officials of the humanitarian organization Sunday morning left Banjul for rural Gambia to assess the state and impact of their projects. The team, comprising members of the board and management of the Gambia Red Cross Society, kicked off its activities with a visit to a joint community forest initiative in Sambang village. This community was rocked by a wave of communal violence over land, resulting to deep divisions between residents of the area. The Gambia Red Cross Society, with support from the International Trade Center and the UN system, has been leading efforts to restore calm and unity in this community.
For this village now, there is complete peace. So the only thing is now how to develop the peace. But already we have peace. But peace is a continuous process. The moment you relax, there can be another hole somewhere. So we have to go. Every day we are doing meetings.
The Red Cross Society and partners provided the community with 7,000 seedlings for the implementation of the joint community forest initiative in a move aimed at brokering peace and restoring unity in what was a highly divided community.
So let us not underrate what we are doing today. For the next 50, 80 years, this is going to help our soil, our atmosphere, our rainfall, our climate, and our oxygen intake. What I want to say here is, this is your business, you the youths. The elders, they have done theirs. Let us try and protect these things.
When we implement projects, we want to go and see how the projects are going. And this is why we are here, to monitor. And this is our first point, to visit. So, and I believe, with what we see, that we are impressed. To be impressed more, there will be a time also the teams, the different teams will be coming to see, even in the dry season, how are the things being taken care of and so on. And I know the amount of money that is put into this, of millions of dollars.
Several community members spoke of the unity and cohesion brought about by the projects rolled out by the Gambia Red Cross Society and partners. The challenge now is to sustain the projects and preserve peace within this close-knit community. From Sambang, the delegation had brief stops in Pachar and Fulabantang, where officials visited victims of the devastating July 7th windstorm. Battered households were given cash and material support amounting to $30,000 each to help them cope with the effects of the storm, which left some of these victims without shelter. The delegation also paid a courtesy call on the Governor Central River Region, Serif Abbasanyang, who spoke highly of the Red Cross volunteers in the area. The day's engagements wrapped up with a visit to the GRCS regional branch in Bansang, but the tour is expected to continue in the Upper River region in the coming days. Esa Sow, GRTS News.
Meanwhile, the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority have concluded its week-long aviation safety training for its staff. One personality celebrated for her success as the Gambia's first ever female traffic control officer at the Banjul International Airport is Mariama Jallo, who is distinguished by her adaptive nature to compete in what appears to be a highly competitive field. As Ba Ibrahim Cham reports, the young mother and wife is leading a generation of change that inspires a thrilling number of young aspirants.
Giving up was not in me. I said it to myself, no matter how tough it is, I'll go to the end. If it was given up, I would have given up when I newly started, because people used to call me and they would tell me, you cannot do this. This is not for you. Because women came and ran away. And I know you will also run away one day. I say no to that. So those were the things that keep me motivated to reach where I am today.
Mariama S. Jallo works at one of the most important departments at the Banjul International Airport, the Control Tower, where she works as an air traffic control officer. Her job is to correspond with incoming and departing flights and facilitate separation of overseas flights crossing to ensure a safe landing and departure. Starting as a cadet in 2013, Mariama has been through numerous trainings by both seniors and capacity programs to prepare her for this job today. We met her at her office that harbors a marvelous view of the tarmac. Mariama tells us the correspondence they do with pilots to ensure safe landing and departures.
The most important thing, once an aircraft calls Banjul, we have two frequencies here. Like you saw the live traffic when it called. You give them the time, and then the most important thing is the weather. You pass the weather to them. When the aircraft is coming into Banjul, they will call you first. Once they call you, you answer to them and give them the time, because these are recorded. So once you call them, you give them the runway in use. We have two runways here, runway 14 and runway 32. If they are using runway 14 based on the weather that is reported, that's where you will know from the animator which runway they are going to use. If it is runway 14, you give it to them. If it is 32, you give it to them, and the expected type of approach they are going to use. So the most important thing is the weather, and the weather is given to us by the Met Office in Floor 4.
Working in a male-dominated area, Mariama made a breakthrough in her area, inspiring and giving young women a platform. Yet behind the limelight, she says the job can be stressful, as she encouraged young girls to pick up the task.
Because as I'm talking to you, I always receive calls from women. They want to join the aviation field. But like the way people think, they always see this place as a main domain thing. I have broken that record. And what I have for women out there, those that are married, I believe if they can manage themselves well, they can also do it. I am a mother of 2 before becoming an air traffic controller. When I started this job, I was not married. I didn't have a child. I had my child when I started this job, the first one, and the second one as well. I got them both before I got my license. And I believe also women that are not married can do this. For those that are not married, that are just starting, I believe this is the right time.
The Director of Air Navigation Services, Mamadou Ba, spoke highly of Mariama and her achievement, describing it as a milestone.
She has indeed broken the record, because I can attest to that. Other women have been given this opportunity before, but for one reason or the other, the job is not easy. I mean, like she said, she talks about stress level. You are able to manage your stress, you are able to do this job. But also the level of the education as well. You need to have certain level of education to be here, especially in the science field. Most of the technical subjects that are required, they're not easy. So, and also in here, you're expected to be perfect, because people's life and property are in your hand.
Intensive training, dedication, and commitment are the qualities that took Mariama to this level, and now she is an inspiration to her peers, but also a national hero for being the first female air traffic control officer in Gambian history. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm Ba Ibrahim Cham.
Well, congratulations to Mariama S. Jallo there. Moving on. 250 personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces yesterday departed for Turkey as part of a 12-week training program on peacekeeping operations. The troops, seen off at the Banjul International Airport by the Chief of Defense Staff and the Turkish ambassador to the Gambia, are part of a contingent of 500 soldiers enlisted for future deployment to the Quick Reaction Force of the United Nations peacekeeping missions, where GRTS's Isoducator witnessed their farewell at the Banjul International Airport, and this is her report.
All those before you in different parts of this world, they've gone there and they perform exemplary. They've never let us down. They've maintained the ethics, the standards, and behaviors that is required of them as good ambassadors of this country. Today is your turn. We do not expect anything less than that of your colleagues. We would like to see you excel in terms of performance and credibility.
Exactly what he sought to deliver. A strong message to the first batch of the army leaving Gambian soil for peacekeeping training in Turkey to prepare them for future deployment in UN missions. This training package is part of a revolving program for proposed Gambian contingents that have been scheduled to undergo preparations for deployment as part of a quick action force to UN peace support missions. The initiative is a Turkish-driven pledge to provide specialized training for 500 security personnel under the QRF, an agreement strengthening deepening relations between Ankara and Banjul. The two nations have a long-standing cooperation, particularly in military and security sector development, following the establishment of the Turkish Gendarmerie training team for the Gambian military in February 1991. Ankara and Banjul have since expanded cooperation, continuing engagements, boosting capacity and training in fulfillment of the pledge made to support the security sector reforms.
Turkey is a genuine friend of the Gambia, and our military relations is one of the main pillars of our brotherly relations. And today, in the scope of the UN Quick Reaction Forces, our Gambian brothers and sisters from the Gambian Armed Forces are leaving for Turkey for having their peacekeeping operations training. During their stay in Turkey, they will not only develop their professional capacity, but also they will become honorary ambassadors of Turkish-Gambian brothership.
After months of language training to prepare troops for the Turkish venture, the first batch is now being deployed to begin advanced military training in general peacekeeping and military operations.
Now, you are going to the sister republic of Turkey to hone and perfect your individual and team skills. In that, when you go there, your individual battle competencies and professionalisms will now be perfected. It is a unique opportunity for all of you to make sure that you use the opportunity given to you. It is rare in the services, in your military service, to have such a wonderful gesture. I encourage you to go there and represent this country.
Those words from the Army High Command is meant to make morale high, as the contingent commander gave assurances of their commitment to live up to expectation. Another batch of 250 soldiers will leave after 3 months of the first deployment. The training program joins reform efforts by government and the military leadership, which is moving to transform the armed force to a more professional army, capable of regional and global engagement.
You are going as a team and therefore expected to serve collectively as a team. There's a very popular saying in the armed forces, esprit de corps, camaraderie. Very important. Team work, body. Always watch out for each other. Always check the next person. Never be on your own.
Trainings like this will serve as a great source of motivation for soldiers who rely on peacekeeping missions to enhance professional capacity and career development. The contingent left for Turkey in the early hour of Sunday morning. The next few months in Ankara will be a major test for their preparation and training to undertake UN peace support operations.
It is a total of 250 out of 750 personnel selected in batches of 3 a glimmer of hope after dampened spirits following the official withdrawal of troops in Darfur. Morals are already high as they will be set to do what they do best, restoring sanity to where it is needed the most. For GRTS News, I am Aissatou Keita.
Well, that report by Aissatou Keita takes us to our first commercial break. The sports news is up next. Do stay.
Jesus Crusade to mark our 13th anniversary Thanksgiving, and the theme for this wonderful crusade is Moving Things to God's Dominion, which is taken from the book of Revelation 11:15, and the host minister is Pastor James Chimeze Ede, the General Overseer, Universal Liberation Outreach Ministry Worldwide, and the guest speaker is the anointed servant of God, Bishop James Edward Green, from the Inspiring Words Christian Center, Texas, USA. And the date for the crusade is Thursday the 7th to Saturday the 9th of October. Time 6 p.m. daily, and the date for the Thanksgiving service is on Sunday the 10th of October at 11:30 a.m. and the venue is at the Church Auditorium, Universal Liberation Outreach Ministry, opposite St. Peter's School, Lamen, featuring salvation, healing, deliverance, empowerment, and breakthrough. Come and be blessed. A 4 days reigning Jesus Crusade to mark our 13th anniversary.
Welcome back to GRTS News at 2000 hours. And now in sports. The Gambia Football Players Association have successfully staged its maiden award night, recognizing excellence and rewarding outstanding performance in the first and second division leagues of the Gambia Football Federation. Famara Baji attended the award ceremony, and this is his report.
This was a gathering of the football family who came together to celebrate and recognize the achievements of the country's footballers in the past league season. It is the dream of these players to receive individual accolades, and the nominees in the different categories were one after the other introduced to the audience. The organizers said this event is a reflection of the progress of the league.
The performance of the nominees, both individually and collectively, reflect the development of our leagues in our football, even though there are rooms for improvement. We will strive as an association to the best of our abilities to continue to support our members who are the league players, and in doing so, build the beautiful game.
In what was a highly attended event, different sporting personalities, representatives of the different clubs, and family members graced the glamorous night. The fun-filled event saw the nominees anxiously waiting for the winner to be announced. Fortunes Yankuba Sabali and Interior's Aminata K. Dabo were voted goalkeepers of the season in the male and female Division 1 league, while Senitra Wale of Gunjur United and Dominga Mendy of Bere Wuleng were the standout goalkeepers in the Division 2 male and female. Gambia Armed Forces Sekuba Sise and Interior's Catherine Jata, both of whom scored 13 goals in the male and female First Division leagues respectively, received the Golden Shoe Award. While in the Division 2 male and female, Kadejaju of Fijobi Football Club, who scored 29 goals including 5 hat-tricks, and Sankun Silla and Adama Sedi were tied on 18 goals in the top scoring chart in the male category. The Young Player of the Season award in the Division 1 went to Abdullah Mane of Walidan, while in Division 2, it was Bakari Sise of Team Rhino and Teddy S. Jata of Berewuleng who scooped that award. And ultimately, the Player of the Season awards in the male and female First Division were won by Catherine Jata of Interior and Lamin Sedikan of Fortune Football Club respectively. While in Division 2, it was Yusufan Jai of B4U Kian West for men and Abimari Sambu of Berewulem for the Women Division 2 League. This was a joyful moment for the winners.
I feel very happy scoring that magnificent goal. This goal have motivated me to work harder and to score many more. Bernard wants to see himself in another level, maybe in one of the 5 top leagues pretty soon, and I'm working hard for it, and I know it will come soon.
This award, it means a lot to me because this is the first award that I have win, and
I cannot even express how I'm feeling. I'm very, very happy. But thanks to my mom, she's the one supporting me. Since from day one, she used to encourage me. Even sometimes she will buy credit to vote for me because it's not easy. I'm the only female she has that is playing football.
The game is just all about working hard, and then especially a goalkeeper, you should be always saving your team. And then this is something that's in me since I was young, and then I always want to save my club. I always want to do good, and then I think that is the reason today I was able to get where I am today. And I really feel good, and then I want to do more to have many of these.
Other awards were as well given to individuals like Mamadou Cisse, Ebosilla amongst others for their contribution to the game in the first award night by the Players Association to recognize and celebrate the efforts of its members. Famara Baji, GRTS News.
Well, congratulations to the awardees. But still in sports, the Combo Central's second Nawetan football season has kicked off with defending champions Bakari Village beating Dimbaya 3-1 in the opening game. Modo S. Jallo has details in this report.
Combo Central 2, one of the few major centers playing Nawetan football this year, got their summer football season underway to a colorful start at the Marakisa football field. Attended by scores of football enthusiasts in the area, including Governor Lamin Sane of the West Coast region. Reigning champions Bakar Sambuya Village began their title defense with a 3-1 win over Dimbaya in the opening match. Bakar Sambuya strolled to a 2-0 lead before Dimbaya pulled one back to restore some hope, but Alfuseni Jata scored late on to seal a 3-1 victory for Bakar Sambuya. Ten villages from the Central 2 zone are taking part in this year's edition.
We are kind of outside Brikama and playing within our area only, within our villages wouldn't help the boys. This is why we thought it wise, to form a tournament whereby players from different villages will come, and play at a particular venue where it can attract, people to come and see them. So that's the basic idea of us doing it.
The Central 2 Sports Committee has in its plans to also stage a youth and a girls empowerment football tournament.
Central 2 is a big community, and it's full of talents actually, because way back in the 80s, we've had people that have played, very good football in this community, up to the first division, second division, and third division. So you can have an idea of the caliber of players you can find within Central 2.
The summer football fiesta in Central 2 is renowned for its colorful and carnival atmosphere, with great fanfare from the fans. The reason why the zone is nicknamed the home of football ambience. Now, the villages of Marakisa, Kabekel, Jamweli, Darsilani, Kiti, Penyan, Kasakunda, and Manduar will be hoping to wrestle the trophy away from Bakari Sambuya.
Central 2, dole bandoma, gasi dale, GF vekiri loke, Combo Central 2, alinga uliwo, alinga kavnyoma, nyimundale ti Central 2.
Modest Jala, GRTS Sports.
Well, let's now take our second break. The international news is up next. Don't go away.
National Social Protection Secretariat, under the Office of the Vice President, in collaboration with development partners, is organizing a National Social Protection Forum from the 5th to the 6th October 2021 at the OIC Conference Center in Kololi. The program will be chaired by the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Touré. The themes are coverage of social protection schemes. These include child-sensitive social protection to be led by the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Homegrown school feeding program, which will be led by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. National Health Insurance Scheme, to be led by the Ministry of Health. Coordination of social protection, building social protection system, which will be led by the National Social Protection Secretariat. Sustainable financing of social protection. This will be led by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. Strengthening capacity, training and capacity building by the Management Development Institute MDI and the University of the Gambia.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, AfriCell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 30,000. Meaning, your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. In the internationals, a group of 600 investigative journalists yesterday published the largest global media report implicating alleged involvement of a number of world leaders and other high-profile individuals in tax haven schemes. The 12 million documents obtained and revealed details how some global leaders, celebrities, billionaires, and drug dealers transfer their fortune into foreign investments free from tax. The report further details involvement of former prime ministers of the United Kingdom and Czech Republic, amongst a host of other global leaders. France 24 picks up the rest of that development.
The largest ever global media investigations involving more than 600 journalists who've analysed some 11.9 million financial documents. The leaked records implicate hundreds of world leaders, politicians, billionaires, celebrities, religious leaders and drug dealers. For the past 25 years, they've been using offshore accounts to hide their investments in luxury properties, yachts and other valuable assets, collectively worth trillions of dollars. The report was released by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists.
We have emails, passport copies, bank statements that show how presidents, kings, princesses, billionaires and criminals hide and move money.
Among the more than 330 current and former politicians identified as beneficiaries of the offshore accounts are Jordan's King Abdullah II, former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, and the Czech Republic's Prime Minister Andrej Babiš, who denied any wrongdoing on Sunday.
Tak, nechte mě to říct, to je důležité.
Pane premiére,
ty peníze odešly z České banky, byly zdaněné, byly to moje peníze a vrátily se do České banky.
Many of the secret accounts were designed to evade or avoid taxes. Tony Blair, who has been a vocal critic of tax loopholes, is shown to have been legally avoiding the payment of stamp duty on a multi-million-pound property in London. The Pandora Papers are the latest in a series of mass leaks of financial documents, including the 2016 Panama Papers, which led to the resignation of Iceland's leader at the time and set the stage for the ousting of Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. It's one of the largest.
Over 2,500-page report by investigators looking into the shadow activities of a church in Paris is due to be published tomorrow. Experts say the report is a time bomb waiting to explode, as some 3,000 perpetrators have operated within the Catholic Church from 1950 to date. The investigations lasted for 2.5 years, with disturbing reports set to unearth a very unpleasant truth.
A visit to this former seminary, now a private school, brings back painful memories. Jean-René, Jean-François and Joseph all suffered sexual violence here when they were about 10.
On devait avoir un directeur de conscience. Voilà, il nous emmenait dans sa chambre, il nous confessait. Et puis après, il y avait toujours une petite discussion. Il commençait à nous caresser, et puis on se retrouvait sur le lit qui était à côté.
Another victim, Jean-Marie, remembered how he felt trapped by his aggressors, including a priest.
Je cite une phrase de l'un des deux prédateurs, « Tu aurais dû m'arrêter, ce n'est pas bien, c'est un péché ». On retrouve là l'idée d'à la fois d'un consentement et d'une culpabilité.
Thousands of others have brought their stories forward, breaking decades of silence. Their voices are the backbone of a report due to be released on Tuesday by an independent commission investigating sexual abuse inside France's Catholic Church. The Archbishop of Rennes, who cooperated in the inquiry, recounts how he felt when he heard testimony from victims in his own diocese.
C'est douloureux, d'abord à cause de la douleur des victimes et vis-à-vis des personnes abuseurs, j'ai honte.
Ahead of the report's release, the head of the commission revealed one of its key findings, that around 3,000 paedophiles have operated inside the French Catholic Church since 1950. The document, the fruit of 2.5 years of investigation, runs 2,500 pages. Some have described it as a bombshell waiting to explode.
While still in the internationals, North and South Korea have restored their cross-border hotline, which is a step that could help improve relations following a recent missile test by Pyongyang. The hotline of Tone and Fact channel is used by both Pyongyang and Seoul to set up meetings, arrange border crossings, and avoid accidental clashes, while today called in the first formal communication between both countries since August when relations deteriorated.
The news was announced on Sunday on North Korean TV.
Following a decision by respected comrade Kim Jong-un, all communication lines between the North and the South will be restored as of 9 a.m. on October 4th.
Except for 2 short weeks over the summer, it's the first time the special hotlines between North and South Korea will be restored in more than a year. North Korea cut those ties after its southern neighbor dropped leaflets that criticized northern leadership. The hotlines consist in phone and fax channels the two Koreas use to set up meetings, arrange border crossings, and avoid accidental clashes.
I hope that inter-Korean relations can enter a new phase as the hotlines are restored.
Some experts, though, are skeptical about the North's intentions because the move comes soon after it restarted missile testing. The country may also be attempting to put pressure on South Korea to convince the United States to relax its economic sanctions on Pyongyang. Kim Jong-un has repeatedly said he wouldn't return to talks with the U.S. unless it drops its, quote, hostile policy.
Well, that's the news, but before we take leave of you, a recap of our top stories. The third ordinary session of Parliament in the 2021 legislative year has ended with Vice President Dr. Aissatou Touré responding to questions posed by deputies. 250 personnel of the Gambia Armed Forces departs for Turkey as part of a 12-week training program on peacekeeping operations. The senior management of the Gambia Red Cross Society embarks on a countrywide tour to their project intervention sites, looking into progress made and challenges registered. In sports, the Gambia Football Players Association held its annual award night, recognizing excellence in the field of football. In the internationals, a group of 600 investigative journalists has published a new report implicating global and political leaders in evading tax schemes. Well, viewers, that was all we had time for in this edition of the News at 8. Do join us at 2200 hours for more news. Until then, do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.
first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high